Hello everyone, thank you for coming to our webinar. The topic today is income-driven repayment plans and forgiveness. It is presented by United Way of Long Island and EDCAP. We are here to help you and assist you with one-on-one counseling and just making sure that you have the help available to you within Long Island. So we are here for our Long Island residents who need assistance with their student debt. My name is Yamina and I am the student debt assistance program manager and counselor. So let's move forward and begin our presentation. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right. So this specific presentation, I will give an update post-election and how it may affect student loans just coming forward. And let's get started with our agenda. So I'll tell you a little bit about us as United Way of Long Island, then we'll tackle strategies on how you can tackle your student debt. We'll discuss the legal challenges, again, we will discuss how the new administration may be affected, and then we'll discuss repayment options, exploring forgiveness, cancellation, and discharge, income-driven repayment account adjustment, getting out of defaults, private loans, and then I'll have some additional links and resources for you in the end. The end will also have my contact information and how you can sign up for one-on-one counseling. Okay, let's begin. So a little bit about United Way. Our mission is to advance the common good and create better opportunities for our Long Island residents. And we focus on 3 specific building blocks. We focus on health, education, and financial stability. You can 100% get in contact with us using our phone number. We are also in Deer Park, right next to Tanger Outlet. So if you have any questions or concerns, you're more than welcome. Some of the programs that I'll just mention starting up are Power Up and Vets Build. They prepare individuals for a career in construction and energy trades. We also have Single Care, which provides discounts on prescription meds for those who need it. Project Warmth is also starting up again. It provides a safety net for individuals and families who are unable to pay for their heating bill. We also have, just in case you are curious about resources that are available to you, we have a 24/7 helpline free to access your local resources and services. Those resources and services involve housing, employment, and healthcare. So you can call 211 whenever you need. All right. So let's talk about the 3 strategies for tackling student debt and what yours might be. But let me start off by saying, since the SAVE litigation, which is one of the IDR plans, is in court, and it's related regulations and new administrations and how it might affect it. There are a couple of uncertainties and a lot of things in this presentation might be subject to change. So I'll just update you as we go and we'll see how to tackle these challenges. Okay, so what might your strategy be? So there's typically 3 strategies that we as counselors and you obviously as borrowers might use. There's pay your debt in full and as quickly as possible. So the strategy is usually used for borrowers with low loan balances and relatively high income to their balance. And in this option, you can also make lump sum payments or pay more than required to make sure that you get rid of your debt as quickly as possible. Again, this is the best way to describe this is like paying your mortgage. So the more you pay towards it, the more it wipes off your debt. The other way that some borrowers may want to take is pay minimum required and pursue forgiveness if they're eligible. So usually borrowers with high balances and relative or low income might take this option and use this strategy for paying off or kind of taking steps towards paying off their student loans. They make minimum payments until they become eligible for forgiveness, and it kind of just helps to like carve their paths towards forgiveness. And you have to be in an IDR plan to make sure that you are carving your path to forgiveness. In this specific strategy, we wouldn't recommend using or paying extra amounts because the goal is not to kind of see your balance reduce, it's to carve your path towards that forgiveness. And the last option, which is very, very sad, but it is pay the minimum required until death do you part. So it is what it sounds like, unfortunately. But federal student death is federal student death. Federal student loans are dischargeable upon death. So you pay the minimum required payment until you pass away. Most older borrowers who realistically can't pay off their student loans or achieve forgiveness use this strategy, but that is also one strategy. But we hope that obviously the first two can be the ones that you can use. Okay. So moving forward, we will talk about some legal challenges and post-election climate. So as you might have heard, there is a lawsuit against the SAVE plan in court at the moment. The lawsuit is led by two states. It's led by Kansas and Missouri, and they were challenging the Biden administration SAVE plans regulations. At the moment, federal appeal court has blocked the Department of Education from enrolling borrowers in the SAVE plan and offering forgiveness through that plan until the legal issues are resolved. Borrowers who are currently in the SAVE plan, who are enrolled in the SAVE plan, are in a non-interest bearing forbearance. However, time spent in this forbearance is not going to qualify you for forgiveness, and SAVE applications won't be processed until the legal issues are resolved. One good news is that IDR and loan consolidation applications are now available online. They might just take processing might take a while, so you should expect like longer delays considering that. All right, so the litigation and the upcoming change in administration have introduced a little bit of uncertainty. We're not sure what path this might go, but we would suggest downloading important documents from your servicer and the FSA accounts to ensure that none of your information gets lost. So download your loan details, specifically from your servicer accounts. So whoever your servicer is, Advantage, Navient, Mohila, whoever they are, log on and make sure you save your loan details. Save your IDR plan notifications. Again, this could be through your email or from your servicer accounts, and make sure that your PSLF tracker information is also updated and it is with you as in you save it. But this is specifically on FSA. Err on the side of caution, make sure that you also ask for advice, especially if you're consolidating. I would recommend that you genuinely come for one-on-one counseling and make sure that your consolidation is not going to, well, disrupt any of your options. So definitely 100% make sure that you are cautious when it comes to consolidating. Also, stay informed with the regular updates and what the legal developments are. There's three places you can keep updated on. You can use FSA, you can use the Department of Ed, and you can subscribe to the EDCAP newsletter. If you don't subscribe to the first two, you'll get your news through the EDCAP student letter newsletter. Moving on, so now let's talk about repayment options. We have a couple of repayment options. So there's repayment options are usually split into two categories. There are the traditional repayment plans and there's the income-driven repayment plans. Traditional repayment plans, they tend to be more predictable. They're shorter, they have shorter repayment in some cases to potentially pay off your loan faster. Good thing they don't have a recertification or any income verification, and they're best suited for individuals with high income relative to their debt. Those are some of the pros. However, some of the cons of it is higher monthly income. They're potentially challenging for individuals with unlimited income, and there's not a lot of flexibility in adjusting the payment, and you can't actually pursue forgiveness with traditional repayment plans. Again, the best way to describe a repayment plan is practically like paying off a mortgage. That's one of the examples that is the closest. Three of the repayment plans are the standard repayment plans. A standard comes in a 10-year fixed repayment and a 30-year fixed repayment. Extended plans, they usually are fixed and combined with a graduated, but it's a period of 25 years. And graduated repayment plans are you start off with a lower payment, but every 2 years it gradually increases. So this is not dependent on your income. However, income-driven repayment plans, they are dependent on your income. So some of the pros of those of this specific category of repayment plans is they're affordable based on your income. They have loan forgiveness after 10 to 25 years. Again, the 10 years is we're unsure of that because of SAVE being in court, but it allows 10 to 25 years of payments for loan forgiveness. It requires IDR is required to pursue forgiveness in all terms. So whether it's IDR or PSLF, you need to be in an IDR plan to be pursuing forgiveness plan programs. They obviously adjust based on your income. So if your income fluctuates, whether it goes up or down, that's how your that's how your repayment will be calculated. And they're best suited for individuals with high debt balances and low moderate income, and for individuals pursuing forgiveness plans. Some of the cons of this plan are you have to renew it, and you have to do income verification annually. You also have the risk of potentially accruing interest over an extended period of time, because with income-driven repayment plans, your goal isn't to wipe out the debt. It's mostly to just make sure that you are in your loan is in good standing, and you are most likely going to be pursuing forgiveness. And it has longer repayment periods, extending the time to become debt free. Some other payment plans that are under income driven are SAVE, which is on hold. There is PayE, which is limited availability. There is income based repayment, which is IBR. And there is the income contingent repayment, which is also limited availability. And I'll go into what I mean by limited availability in the next slide. So as you know, at the moment, since SAVE is in court, and I know I've said this like so many times, but since SAVE is in court, we are unsure of how the IDR plans will be available after the litigation is through. So right now, the status of IDR plans in its completion is unclear. However, one of the plans that we do know should stay standing is the IBR plan, because the IBR plan would require an act of Congress to repeal. And unfortunately, even though this plan should stay, there is a income test for it. And if that income test is not met, you usually don't qualify or are eligible for IBR. All right. So as I said, the SAFE plan is on hold, and not likely. It's not likely to survive legal challenges, but fingers crossed. There are excuse me. Borrowers that enrolled before July 18th, 2024 have been placed in a non-interest bearing forbearance. Again, does not count towards forgiveness. Income-based repayment. Okay, so this gets a little tricky, I guess you could say. There is two income-based repayment plans and the way they're calculated. So there's the new income-based repayment plan, and then there's the old income-based repayment plan. So the new IBR is for borrowers that the old IBR is for borrowers that have any loans that were dispersed before July 1st, 2024. So it's available to borrowers who have direct or FFELP loans. It calculates their payments at a 15% discretionary income. It offers forgiveness for after 25 years, and the only plan available to FFELP borrowers. Other non-direct loans you can consolidate to gain access, and the income test that applies is if your IBR payment is calculated and is higher than what you would pay in a standard 10-year fixed repayment plan, you're not eligible for IBR. The new IBR, however, is for borrowers whose first loans were dispersed after July 1st, 2024. This is available to borrowers who have direct loans, and you must have direct loans. It calculates payments at 10% of discretionary income, offers a forgiveness after 20 years instead of 25 years compared to the old IBR, but the same income test applies to this plan. Payee at the moment is also, well, unofficially, I guess you could say, it is, you can apply to it. We have not seen it have applications of it as of yet, so we stay tuned. So for payee, it's only available to borrowers who enrolled before July 1st, 2024. And it calculates payments at a 10% of discretionary income. It offers forgiveness after 20 years, like the new IBR, and the same income test applies. There are a couple of other restrictions based on when the loans were dispersed. So, no loans dispersed prior to October 1st qualify for payee, and you have to have at least one loan dispersed after 2011 for you to qualify for payee. This may open to eligible borrowers soon. Again, we are not sure how that's going to come into play, so stay tuned. There's the income contingent repayment plan, which is available to borrowers with direct consolidations that contain Parent Plus loans. For non-Parent Plus borrowers, it's only available to those who were enrolled prior to July 1st, 2024. And for this specific income contingent ICR, you have to have direct loans. For this, payments calculated at a lesser of 20% of discretionary income, or the payment, or it would be according to the payment in a 12-year fixed plan, adjusted through your income. There's also the forgiveness option for this, but this one spans 25 years, not like payee or the new IBR. This has no income test, and it might open to up to eligible borrowers soon. So again, for that, stay tuned. The revised pay as you earn is the predecessor of the SAVE plan. So for this specific payment plan, you cannot actually, it's not available to any borrowers at the moment. It might be reinstated if SAVE does not survive. But for this specific plan, when it was available, you should have had direct loans. The payments for this were calculated at 10% of discretionary income, and it offered 20 years of forgiveness if the borrower had only undergrad loans, and 25 years if they had any grad loans. Even regardless of your tax filing status, spousal income for this repayment plan does count. Whether you're married and you filed your tax separately, they would still count it. So that's one of the unfortunate, like bullet points of this specific payment plan. And this one doesn't have any income test. So for IDR application processing at the moment, the courts are not processing any SAVE plan applications because, again, until it's resolved, we're not going to know. They're going to start processing IBR applications soon, and payee and ICR applications for non-Parent Plus borrowers that were filed before July 1st. And ICR applications for borrowers with direct consolidation loans that contain Parent Plus loans. So these three specific applications are going to start getting processed soon. And some of the plans that may be opened again, because again, unsure, payee and ICR for those who meet pre-July 1st eligibility requirements. All right. Any questions so far?
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Um, what what usually makes the traditional route the best route instead of IDR?
So for traditional plans, again, you have to, for traditional, again, it's like paying for a mortgage, right? So if you have a loan balance that is relatively low, so for instance, if you're, if it's, okay, if your loan balance is relatively low to your income, that's the plan that you might want to opt for. So for instance, if you have $20,000 in debt, but you make over 100K a year, that's a plan that you might opt for to get rid of your loan as soon as possible. IDR is usually income-driven repayment plans are usually for individuals who have relatively high loan balances, but they make low to moderate income, and they can't exactly afford paying off their loans. So in that case, most of those individuals would either pursue PSLF or they would pursue income-driven repayment forgiveness. Unless there's other requirements that you meet and they could get discharged or forgiven, but we'll talk about that later. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I do have one more question.
Go ahead.
Um, Payments made during forbearance for the SAFE program, will that go toward the total accruement of payments, or how would that be processed?
So at the moment, so the whole point of like the SAVE forbearance at the moment is holding because SAVE is in court. So there's no obligation upon the borrower to be making payments towards this towards their loan at the moment because it's in forbearance, and it's a non-interest forbearance, non-interest bearing forbearance as well. So if you're making payments while you're on forbearance, they will count towards your principal amount. So going forward, they're gonna reduce your loan balance, but again, we wouldn't recommend that. It's not advised because most people on the SAVE plan, they either are pursuing forgiveness or they want to make sure that they're well, most of them are pursuing forgiveness for the say for PSLF or IDRF. So when you're usually on an income driven repayment plan, whether it be SAVE, you shouldn't be making extra payments towards your loans unless you really want to pay it off. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So moving on, I do want to introduce well, not introduce. I wanted to bring this up just in case. There we had an on-ramp, which was a grace period during which borrowers could elect to skip payments without major financial repercussions. Um, you would have been told about this by your either servicers, or you might not have known, or you were probably confused as to why it's not affecting your loan balance. But the on ramp was a grace period in which if you didn't make payments, it wouldn't affect your loan balance. So you wouldn't incur any late fees, you wouldn't miss your missed payments would not be reported to credit agencies, and you would not be at a risk for default. This option, however, ended around September 30th. So eligible loan borrowers had their accounts brought current on October 31st. So that's kind of when the cycle started over again. Starting November 1st, after 30 days of non-payment, late fees would be applied. After 90 days of non-payment, delinquencies will be reported to credit agencies. And unfortunately, after 270 days of non-payment, which is 9 months, your loan will be at a risk for default. But it's not too late to to make sure that you enroll and start making payments. You can always find an affordable plan, especially with the income driven repayment plans available. And it's you should prioritize making sure that your loan is in good standing because of it. Okay, so moving forward, let's explore forgiveness, cancellation, and discharge options. There are a couple that we should discuss because this is the entire purpose of this webinar. So let's go forward. There, starting off, there is the income-driven repayment forgiveness. The income-driven repayment forgiveness forgives your remaining loan balances after making payments under the IDR plan for about 10 to 25 years. Again, the 10 years is because of the SAFE plan. So most plans require 20 to 25 years. There is no employment requirement for this, but you have to be enrolled in an IDR plan. So kind of to give you an example, you could be unemployed, but you could also still be making payments under IDR. The way that would turn out is you're most likely going to be making $0 repayments, $0 payments every month, but your loan would still be in good standing because that was the required payment of your IDR plan, if that makes sense. Then there is the public service loan forgiveness. Public service loan forgiveness forgives your loan balance after 10 years of having loans under repayment with IDR. But a certain requirements that you need to meet for public service loan forgiveness is, again, you have to be under an income-driven repayment plan. You have to be working full-time or an average of 30 hours per week. And you have to be working for a nonprofit or government agencies. You also have to have direct loans or consolidated loans. Um, Another option you have is the borrower defense to repayment, which is the BDR. Um, BDR usually discharges remaining loan balances for borrowers who were defrauded by their higher education institution. So if you were defrauded by your college and you attended that school that engaged in that misconduct and you had taken out loans to attend that school. This is very tricky. This is a very long process, and it's the application is about 15 to 20 pages. It's a cup of tea. So if you think this is the case, please reach out for a one-on-one counseling and we can proceed from there and take a look at your situation. And another option for discharge or getting your loan balance forgiven is TPD, which is total and permanent disability discharge. It allows borrowers to discharge their loan amount if they're disabled, and it must be a disability that prevents them from working and earning enough money to support even yourself. So that if you have if that is a circumstance that you're under and you have loans, you are most likely eligible to get your loans discharged due to disability. So moving on, let's use an example. Let me just present an example to you that will kind of help you, I guess, understand a little more in depth how forgiveness plans work in action. So the example here is of a young woman, Lorraine, who works with the city of New York. Right? Did I say that right? Yeah. City of New York, and is eligible for public service loan forgiveness. She's eligible for public service loan forgiveness again because she works full time. She works for a nonprofit / a government agency, and she has direct loans. She is a single mother with one child. All of her loans were dispersed after July 1st, 2024. That matters because it depends. It gives you an idea of what IDR plan might be better for her. She earns about $60,000 per year, and her loan balance is $75,000, and the interest rate is 6.20%. So some of the plans that she's eligible for would be the IBR for new borrowers, the standard 10-year repayment plan, and the standard 30-year repayment plan. And as you can see, the payment ranges are 254 to 415 for her IBR. That forgives that's a payback period of 10 years. She pays about $40,000 in total, and her loan balance that gets forgiven is about $81,947. So about $82,000 of her get forgiven. For if she were in the standard 10-year payment plan, she would be paying $840 per month. That payback period would be about 10 years, and in total, she would have paid about $101,000 with no forgiven balance. If she were in the standard 30-year repayment plan, her payment monthly would be 459, and her payback period would be 30 years. And in that payback period, she would have paid close to $200,000 to get her loan balance forgiven. So in this case, most counselors, all the counselors actually, would recommend Lorraine to pursue PSLF and enroll in IBR. So over the course of 10 years, she can make sure that she pays off her loan and gets her loan balance forgiven, majority of it. So if you are pursuing PSLF, I want to give a little bit of guidance to you guys and just let you know what it looks like. So the legal challenges at the moment are not targeting PSLF programs, but they do affect PSLF because they affect IDR plans. Since if you want to, again, pursue PSLF, you have to be pursuing IDR. You have to be in an IDR plan. And that specifically counts towards your payments on a monthly basis that count toward forgiveness. So for borrowers who are in the SAFE plan at the moment, SAFE forbearance at the moment, if you're close to 120 qualifying payments, consider using PSLF buyback, because you're not specifically getting credit for PSLF during the forbearance during the SAFE forbearance. So you must have about 120 months of qualifying employment on your record to use this option. So this pretty much means that you either have to be really close to it or you have to use PSLF buyback to make sure you reach the 120. For you to make sure that you're up to date, you need to file your updated PSLF certification forms online. If you need help with that, again, please schedule a one-on-one with me. And the months that you buy back must be enough for you to reach that 120. You can buy back months prior to the consolidation, and the amount you are required to pay is based on calculations either in payee or IBR. At the moment, again, they're not sure because the requirements and the I can't think of the word that I need to use. The requirements for PSL buyback at the moment have not been set in stone, so they may be based on payee or IBR. We're not sure yet. Again, so if you're within 1 to 2 months of reaching your 120 qualifying payments, you can switch to an IDR plan to make sure that you are reaching your forgiveness ASAP, and or you can request a processing forbearance. If you are genuinely at 118 payment counts for your PSLF to reach completion, you can request a processing forbearance after applying for another IDR plan, so switching your IDR plan, because a processing forbearance is eligible for forgiveness. So that will save you 2 months of payments. So that's definitely one option you can take to make sure you reach 120. If you're eligible and can afford the payments, you can also switch to the 10-year standard fixed plan. Payments in this plan will count towards PSLF. Some payments do count towards PSLF. So borrowers with a consolidation loan with repayment terms that are longer than 10 years can contact their servicer and request them to change it to a 10-year fixed plan. So you are meeting that requirement for PSLF. If you're not close to achieving 120 payments and you want to remain in the safe forbearance and see how it plays out, you can do that 100%. Or if you want to make sure that you're kind of staying consistent on your PSLF journey and making sure you want to reach it ASAP, you can switch to an IBR plan so you can continue earning credit towards PSLF. So for borrowers that are pursuing PSLF and other IDR plans, however, you can continue making payments and recertify your plan when it's required. Again, borrowers in PSLF, borrowers in SAVE that are pursuing PSLF, you should expect that it might take longer to meet that qualifying payment credit. All right, so I want to emphasize on the PSLF certification forms as well. So these forms verify that you meet the employment requirements for the PSLF program. So you must file a form for each qualifying employer you've had since October 1st, or later if your loans were dispersed after October 1st, 2007. Excuse me. You should also file them annually, or you file them when you change jobs. So to be fair, you can file them anytime you want. So if like for 1 month you need to make sure that your payment's up to count, you can file it. It just takes a little while to process, but you need to file, like you should file annually, and especially when you change jobs. You can also use a PSLF help tool from FSA to make sure that you apply. It is an online application. It requires an electronic signature. This is the most efficient way. If you want to do it manually, you should expect processing delays. And starting in July 2024, the PSLF application count was starting to get managed by Department of Ed. So your PSLF trackers should be on your FSA, not your servicer accounts. And to access the tracker, you can find quick links under your dashboard, and it will have the PSLF tracker. So let me give you a visual. So if you were to visit your page, when you log in, there is a little person right there. You click on the dashboard, it brings you to this page, and under quick links, you should be able to see track your PSLF progress, and it should bring up a PSLF tracker that looks like this. Going forward, I want to also discuss the other targeted debt relief that was introduced after the $20,000 loan forgiveness was shot down. Debt relief plan B was announced in August, and that would have provided partial or full debt cancellation to millions of borrowers. Um, this plan, however, is being challenged in courts along with the SAFE plan. And the other debt relief plan, the hardship plan, which was announced in October, would provide relief to borrowers who were deemed likely to default. The rules for this are not finalized as of yet. According to us, this might not be implemented. It's unlikely either of these plans will be implemented. Okay, so let's discuss the IDR account adjustment. The deadline for the IDR account adjustment was June 30th, but there's a couple of things that are in play at the moment, I guess you could say. So the IDR account adjustment gets you closer to eliminating your debt. So the entire point of IDR was this one-time program allowed borrowers to accumulate retroactive credit towards PSLF and income-driven repayment, even if no payments were made or you were enrolled in IDR. So, for instance, to clarify, if you had loans and you consolidated your loans and you were not enrolled in an IDR plan throughout the life of the loan, you would still get credit for that towards PSLF or towards IDRF. Borrowers with direct or ED loans, ED held FELP loans, sorry, will get benefits of this program automatically and will be notified by their servicer about their qualifying payment credit towards IDRF. On direct loans, you can use your IDRF to pursue PSLF credit by filing the PSLF certification form to verify. The deadline for consolidating non-qualifying loans, like commercially held FELP loans, Perkins, or HEAL loans, was June 30th. So if you were to consolidate them now, you would not get the benefits of the IDR account adjustments at the moment, unfortunately. Any questions?
Hi. I was wondering if you had no notification on this, does that mean that you were not qualifying? And if you're just not sure if you wanted to check in to what would be the best way to see if you're eligible?
Eligible for, I'm sorry, what, IDR account adjustment?
Yes.
Okay, so IDR account adjustment depends on your loans specifically. So again, if you had loans that are commercially held FELP loans, Perkins, or HEAL loans, at the given moment, your loans will not have IDR account adjustment applied to them because you would need to consolidate these specific loans for you to get the benefit of IDR account adjustments. However, if you at the moment have direct loans or ed held FEL loans, this program will automatically be applied to you specifically if you had consolidated your loans before June 30th. Does that answer your question?
So it wouldn't really matter if we got a notification or not, as long as we had the direct loans, it would be automatically applied.
Yeah, so if you had direct loans and you didn't get the notification, you reap the benefits of this program.
Okay,
Unfortunately, if you had commercially held FELP loans, Perkins or HEAL loans, then you kind of miss out on the opportunity.
got it. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So moving on, let's discuss default if your loans are in default at the moment. So getting out of default and curing your default is a cup of tea. It's a cup of tea. So before we had an initiative called the Fresh Start Initiative, that helped borrowers get out of default. However, that initiative is now over. So there's two ways you can you can get out of default. There's a rehabilitation, which just means that you make 9 monthly payments on time and in full over a period of 10 months. It removes default notations from credit reports, but it does not remove the delinquencies. It can take up to a year to complete, and it might be expensive, depending. And you can only successfully complete a rehabilitation one time per loan. Another option that you have that is easier and much more recommended would be consolidating. So it replaces your old defaulted loans with new loans that are now in good standing. Unfortunately, it does not repair your credit. It takes 2 to 3 months to be done, and obviously at no cost because the application is online. And it generally is easier than rehabilitation to complete if the borrower is eligible. Again, if you are in default and you want to get out of default, please, please, please seek advice, book a session, and we will 100% help you out. Things like this are very tricky because they can have long-term effects on your loan, and they might not exactly be positive. So please seek advice when your loans are in default or when you need to go through with a consolidation. Private loans. Private loans are, well, not my cup of tea. They are not my best friend. Private loans are usually offered by banks, credit unions, and private institutions. Generally, they don't have benefits that federal loans have, like payments that are based off your income or forgiveness programs. Usually, you need to have your credit checked to obtain those, and you need to have a cosigner. Usually, it's your parents or any adult who qualifies. Cosigners are 100% liable for the loan if the primary borrower, so if you have your dad on the primary, if you have your dad as a cosigner on your loan and your loan defaults, he becomes liable for it. So, and it's very difficult to get a cosigner released. Interest rates on these private loans are determined by market conditions and the credit worthiness of the individual applying for the private loan, but they are subject to statutes of limitation. That pretty much means that after a certain period of time, private loans get wiped off your credit report. However, this can be detrimental to your credit because you are not paying them over a period of time. So, in my advice would be private loans should definitely be your last resort for funding. It is best to avoid them altogether. All right, everyone, thank you so much for coming. This concludes this presentation. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. This is my phone number and the email address you can email to book a session, and you can use a QR code to manually submit a pre-application to have a session with me as well. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. I am here.
Hi, I did have another question. You kept mentioning to book a session with you. What does that entail and how much would that cost?
Oh, perfect. Okay. So again, my services are completely free. We are here to help you. We are here for our Long Island residents. So pretty much to book a session with me, you can 100% call me and ask me to book a session for you, or you can scan the QR code. You'll find a mini application there. Just submit that application and I'll get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and what happens to the information that we provide to you? Is it commercialized in any way?
No, it's completely confidential. We use your intake form just as a demographics, but that is not dispersed in any sense of the word. We just use it for our specific data analysis. So it's not dispersed anywhere. All your information is 100% confidential and it is safe with us.
And you help me go through my FAFSA and everything. Do you also do pre-FAFSA counseling?
We are starting pre-FAFSA counseling. So we will 100%, if you have any pre-FAFSA questions, definitely hit me up. You can text me, email me on this email, or you can again book a session with me. Whatever works for you. We are starting our pre college FAFSA counseling. Or if you are looking forward to applying for student loans because you want to go back to school, we can also help with that 100%.
And do you also give advice for those who are just leaving college before they start payments?
Yes. So our FAFSA counseling pretty much entails pre-college counseling. That is the crux of the program that we're trying to also initiate in UWLI. But if you are again like post-college or pre-college, you can 100% come to me and we will help you with pre-college applications and post-college.
Do you also help with consolidations?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, everyone. There you will have this PowerPoint in your email if you attended the session, and I look forward to seeing you. You can also find additional resources over here. There's other forgiveness and discharge and cancellation programs that you can also um, look for, and we can answer your questions whenever you have any. All right,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.